there was a few instances that I see like two dudes got TRG above their eyebrow.
Uh-huh.
They were catching it.
Every
They're,
day.
not every day. They would catch it and then they would either like send them to the hole until they transferred
Uh-huh.
or whatever the situation was.
Gotcha. Because there was some real tension between the
Oh yeah,
Southsiders and the
yeah, but
TRG.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Those I heard stories, man.
Man,
There was like legendary stories about those
right.
TRGs putting in work. Like
Legendary
they
stories. We've done a few interviews on this channel, but today's interview is a bit different. We've gotten a chance to speak to individuals that have spent time behind bars against their will. But today, we're going to have a conversation with a former correctional officer that worked within the California Department of Corrections, also known as the CDC. Without further ado, I'm going to let this man introduce himself.
what's going on? My name is Ed. Call me Ed. I got 23 years. I did 23 years with CDC, and started back in November '97,
Mm.
and see where we go with this.
All right.
It's gonna be interesting.
So tell me a little bit.
Some people are gonna get pissed off.
Hey, just a little disclaimer before we get into it. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What kind of background do you have? What kind of childhood did you have growing up?
My childhood was basic. I'm from a little town, and right when I was growing up, everybody started gangbanging, doing all that other stuff, and me and my friends, we were into kind of funny. We look back at it now, but we were into battle dancing. So we weren't into all that. I had a lot of family. I had a lot of cousins, there with all the politics and gangbanging. But me and the few friends that I did grow up with, we were doing the little battle dancing, graduated high school, and I went straight into the Marine Corps.
Mm.
Did 4 years in the Marine Corps, did 2 tours.
Thank you for your services.
Yes, thank you. Overseas. And basically, I had a plan to go to school, I wanted to do something with, like a big brother program, working with kids. That's what my plan was initially. But, things took its turn. And it's funny because I was in North Carolina on the East Coast, and I get a letter from my mom. And my mom sends me an application for CDC. Sends me an application. I'm like, look at it. Man, I'm not trying to work in no prison. I ain't got no time. I ain't got no time to be telling people what to do. No grown man. That's not for me. That wasn't for me.
Okay.
I get out of the Marine Corps, and I start going to college, taking college classes, collecting my GI Bill and all that. I got a little job in a warehouse, working 6 hours a day, going to school in the evening, and that was pretty much my situation for like a year. And then I'm in the warehouse. We were loading, and I heard this big old group of dudes talking about taking the CO test. And back then, I was making $8.90 an hour, I believe, $8.90. Back then, 1995, that's a lot of money. 1995, 96, 1996 it was. $8.90 an hour. We were making $8.90 an hour. Plus, I was getting my GI Bill. So, I thought
Is there something playing in the background? I'm hearing some type of noise.
Oh yeah. My bad. I had my Spotify on.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Just
okay.
I'm sorry. Continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. So I had they were talking about taking the CO test.
Okay.
And at the time, I'm making $8.90 an hour. Okay. I got my GI Bill money coming every month.
What year is this?
1996.
1996, the year I was born. Jesus Christ. Okay, continue.
Yeah, 1996. So, 1996, I had me a little hatchback.
Okay.
GI Bill, making $8.90 an hour. I thought I was balling.
Gotcha.
I hear these guys talking about corrections, how they make. Excuse me a second.
You're good.
They say that back then the COs were topping out at $45,000 a year.
45, and for 1996, that's a lot of money.
Right? I
Right.
got excited. I get excited. So I get in the group combo. I sign up for the test. The funny thing is, like, out of that whole big old group, only 3 of us managed to pass the test.
Wow. Were the
Yeah.
tests super strict back then, or how has it
No,
changed at
it
all?
wasn't. It wasn't. But
Okay.
I think it's harder now to get in. Back then, no, that thing was a joke.
What kind of a test? Is it a personality test? Is it a what?
Yes, yes.
Gotcha. How many
It's
questions
like
is it?
it's like simple things like uh, name an animal.
Huh.
Okay. Well, psychologically, supposedly, if you say goldfish, you're a very calm person.
Okay.
If I say lion,
Mm.
psychologically, that shows I have aggression.
Mm.
Things like that.
Okay, so like real simple stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So after passing the test, you said you passed the test, right?
Yeah, I was one of the 3.
One of the 3.
Yes, out of a big old group of guys from the warehouse.
Where did you, after passing the test, what happened?
I did the background. It took a little bit longer because I traveled so much in the Marine Corps. So it took like a little bit over a year. Then I go to the academy. Back then, it was only 6 weeks.
Okay. What is it now?
I believe it's 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Prior to that, it was 6 months.
Huh.
But for me, it was literally 6 weeks.
In those 6 weeks, what are they teaching you? What's going on?
The basic one, what they teach you is you're green, they're blue. Green team, blue team.
Blue team meaning the inmates.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And stay on that side of the fence. The green team.
Gotcha.
That's what the basic. And when in doubt, just say no.
Okay.
You're unsure about anything. If they ask you for something, if an inmate convict asks you for something, you just say no. You don't have the answer.
Gotcha. Okay. So what were some of the things you had to get adjusted to when you first started working in the prisons? Was it intimidating at all? What was it like?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what happened?
We
Let me
had
know
weights
about your
back.
experience.
Had weights back then.
Weights, like actual heavy pieces of metal.
Yeah, lifting weights.
My
So
goodness.
big old dudes. There's some big. Mind you, I'm only 180 pounds at that time. I'm 180 pounds. Like those dudes were big,
Man.
And they know when you're new.
Gotcha. They could smell it.
Oh yeah, your
For
uniform
sure.
is brand new. You
Gotcha.
got like you're crispy from top to bottom. You're crispy.
Crispies.
You get in that mode where everyone's staring at you.
Gotcha.
But after when you've been there so long, it's not a big deal.
Have you seen guys turn it in, like, say, hey, this ain't for me?
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of people. I've seen people that talk the talk, got in situations and literally resigned.
Man.
Yeah.
How long would they averagely last? Like, what's the average?
Give me 1 second. Let me.
No worries. Go take care of it. We could edit this part out. No worries.
All right.
Last before they resign.
I've seen some quit in a day. I've seen some quit in a month. I've seen some quit in their first code situation.
Like a real situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I've seen some that just like, I came in with one dude and I believe there was a stabbing in the day room. I didn't see the dude for a while. Quit. He turned in his badge the next day.
After witnessing the stabbing.
Yeah. He just decided it wasn't for him.
Man. So, have you ever been in a situation where you or one of your fellow officers got attacked?
Oh, a few times.
Would you
few
like to
times.
expand on one of those times?
Yeah. So first off, I have 20 years, 20 years of training. You know, I trained jujitsu
Oh,
for
Brazilian?
life. Yeah, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Since about 2000.
Jesus.
So I remember one where I took an overtime in a dorm, and I remember seeing the officer I was working with, and I'm thinking like, I'm gonna get myself into some shit because this guy, he likes to stir it up with the inmates.
Okay.
And so I go do the overtime. 2 hours go by. Sure enough, he's arguing with the inmate. All right, tells him go outside because that was the thing back then. Take it to the patio. That was one of the things. So a lot of times, if you say you have the day room and you have a confrontation or argument or a disagreement with the inmate, and then what you try to do is separate isolate the incident. So you want to have them take it to the patio. So there's a fire door on the side usually, and you would have the gunner tell him, send this dude out to the patio. Then from there, you would go out there. You would so if there's a third person or you have a partner, you would let your partner know, like, hey, I gotta holler at this dude outside. Then you would take him outside. So that's what my partner at that time, that's what he did. But I could see him.
He took an inmate outside.
Yeah, he's telling him, take it to the patio.
Gotcha.
To finish their argument. So I'm sitting there. 1 second, this dog's crying about going outside.
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm sitting there, but in the corner of my eye, I can see them arguing.
Okay.
And then I look again, they're fighting. They're rolling around on the ground.
Oh, they're fighting.
Yeah. They're fighting, but it ended up on the ground.
Gotcha.
So my partner ends up on the bottom.
Okay.
And the other cat, he ends up on top. So I look, God, so your initial response when you see something is press your alarm.
Okay.
So you press the alarm to let everybody know on the yard that we got an incident in the dorm. So I press the alarm. I yell at everybody to get down on the intercom. I run out there and, basically just had to do what I had to do to help my partner out because he was getting his butt whipped.
Okay.
Or getting his ass kicked. So I had to do what I had to do, get him cuffed up. And I know a lot of people are going to get pissed off when I say this right now. I'm going to say it, but it's the truth. And that's the thing that I see a lot of COs on here. They don't tell the truth. And the truth is, like, you touch a CO, when the cavalry comes, it's bad news. And it's bad news. Anybody that's been in CDC knows. I've seen it's bad news. It gets to the point where you don't want no part of it. Like me personally, I don't want no part of it because it's
violent.
Oh, it's ugly. It's ugly. I've seen real gangsters that have, punched the CO or put hands on a CO, and once the cavalry came, it was bad.
Man,
it was bad. Like I've seen grown men like literally cry and beg for them to stop because they were literally, grown. I mean, you're figuring when the second response comes, there's anywhere from 10 to 15 officers because when they hear staff assault on the radio, every person in that prison responds. They could be way on the other side of the prison. Everyone's everyone's showing up, and it's ugly. It gets ugly.
So how do you avoid becoming a target by the inmates? Is it all about respect?
It's always respect.
Right.
Everyone knows what each officer is about. If he's there for 8 hours, or he doesn't, he just there to get paid, or he's doing too much, or they know which officers just run their mouth all the time. They know which officers are with the business. They know which officers give you respect all day, as long as you show them back that same respect.
Right.
And you know, they pick and choose. You know, and officers do the same thing. Officers, COs do the same thing. They pick and choose their battles. They're not going to go trying to agitate some double lifer that they know has nothing to lose. Like, they're not going to go mess with this dude, knowing, you know, I came across a lot of individuals where deep down in my gut, I knew these guys were crazy, were killers. I
Straight
knew it.
Killers.
Yeah, you could feel that vibe in your stomach. Like, this guy has nothing to lose. Like, he would literally take me, you know, over disrespect. You know, I felt that.
Man, so in your opinion, just like you said 20 years under your belt, what are some of the most active yards here in California?
All prisons are active, but it's the level of violence. So, like, the prison I was at, we had a lot of incidents.
Okay.
But we didn't have murders, and we would have one every now and then, maybe every few years, you know, find a dead body or something. Or, you know, but there's other prisons, like, say, High Desert, Pelican Bay. There's less incidents, but
it's violent.
But the violence, the level of violence in those few incidents is on another level compared to the daily incidents where I was at. So you know, like, daily, yeah, we had daily incidents,
like fights and stuff.
Fights, a little bit of riots here and there, little removals, DPs, but you would say High Desert, they might have had 3 incidents all year, but those 3 incidents, the level of violence, 3 dead bodies. You know, something like that.
Gotcha. So have you interacted with anybody on death row?
No, I never. Death row is San Quentin. I never been there.
Okay, gotcha. In your experience talking about the prison system, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but how crooked is it really in your own experience?
It's about as crooked as LAPD.
Do you care to elaborate a little bit or not really?
I say we hold off and see if the people want to hear it.
Okay. You know what, guys? You heard it here first. Leave the video a like if you guys want to hear that story in a part 2 in another interview. But
you want to hear the corruption of CDC?
We'll do that in another interview if they're interested.
I'll open it up.
Okay. Besides the crookedness, what are some of the what's one of the craziest prison stories that you have for the viewers right now?
I have a lot. I'm
gonna let you choose, and we could get into some of them. What's the one that comes up to your mind first?
One that comes to my mind is I was fairly new in the department, maybe 2-3 years in, and it was a morning day room. So I started getting comfortable. So I'm not out there in the day room. I'm in my office with the door open, and, you know, I can see the guys, whatever, they're all sitting down or playing cards, watching TV, whatever. Well, I see the Southsiders. I see a 3-on-1 Southsiders.
Okay.
But then that dude that's getting removed, he runs into my office.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there, and he runs into my office, and I just realized that they were stabbing the shit out of the dude. So they're stabbing the shit out of him in my office. You know, 2 of them got in there. The other 3, the third dude couldn't get in there because there wasn't enough room in that office. You guys ever seen the office? Not that big. So they were stabbing the shit out of him. And I literally had to back up in the corner by my desk and just pull out my pepper spray. And mind you, back then, 2000, about 2000. The pepper sprays were only about smaller than this.
So it wasn't the big can OC.
No, that didn't come till later in like, goddamn, I want to say, I couldn't even tell you.
Wow.
I couldn't even tell you.
So they had you have little tiny canisters.
Yeah, smaller than this.
My goodness.
Yeah, smaller than this. We had the big batons back then, not the little expandables. You know the old school.
Yeah,
LAPD.
the one with the handle.
Yeah,
and it goes like that.
That's what we had. We had that. Then a little ass pepper spray like this, smaller than this.
Man, no taser.
I'm going like this, you know, and the gunner can't shoot, you know, because he doesn't know where I'm at.
Oh man.
You know, so luckily the pepper spray got him to stop.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, that was one of my first introductions into CDC as far as level of violence.
And this is in the year 2000.
Probably around 2000. 2000. It has to be around. Yeah, it's about 2000 because that was the first time that I actually was like, oh damn, you know, like this is real. Man, you know, I was there that close to it. Yeah, it's something that just messes with your mental through the years when you keep seeing all that stuff.
Did he end up surviving?
Oh yeah. You know, a lot of times, you know, that's why they make a big deal about when they find weapons and bone crushers, you know, because a lot of times the weapons they're fairly small, you know, maybe, you know, I want to say 20% maybe of removals or incidents with weapons. There's maybe only a 20% chance, if that, of death that I've seen in 23 years. Yeah, I've never really seen nobody like, you know, get hit with a big piece. I never. Okay. You know, but the few times that I've read or I've seen from other prisons where they came with big pieces, yeah, and I'm going to include that in the 20% of, you know, the incident is supposed to be life or death. I've seen maybe 20% actually resulted in death.
Gotcha. So because of how small the weapons are,
yeah, they're about as small as this little.
This
is a regular weapon,
right?
You know, because they can carry it with them all day with them.
Okay,
you know?
So we're not straying away from the violence. In your experience working working amongst your COs, how many have you seen that are like really about that flipping cell phones and all that other stuff, doing all the extras?
I've worked with 3 people.
Okay.
2 females.
Oh, females.
2 females, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 females and 1 dude. And the 1 dude was actually he still is a good friend of mine. I consider him a friend.
Okay.
You know, he's genuinely a good person. But so I know the 1 female, she was bringing in heroin and drugs and all that other stuff. They caught her up. Yes. And then another female, she was bringing in, I don't know what, I'm unsure what she was bringing. It might have been cigarettes or something or just stuff. And I've seen other officers do some questionable stuff.
Okay.
And I've kind of like, if I'm only there for the day, I kind of like, you know, try to talk to the dude, you know, feel him out, see what's going on. And then another dude, he was bringing in cell phones. I believe they were telling me he had made about 100,000.
My God,
bringing in cell phones because I guess he had like 6 kids with different women, so he was backed up on child support.
Oh man, so he was just like getting it however he could.
Yeah, he was bringing in cell phones, and it was weird because he's a good friend of mine, and we always talk about the gym, and I'd be walking out, and I'd be like, "What's up? We going straight to the gym?" And then he'd be like, "Oh man, I'll catch you later." I'm like, all right, you know. And then one day he's like, "Hey man, like, man, these dudes, man, they be spreading some funny ass rumors." And I'm like, "Are they true?" He's not, no. I go, "Who cares? Like, who gives a shit? They ain't true. I wouldn't worry about it." Well, that's what the rumors were, that he was bringing in cell phones. And
Mm.
sure enough, yeah,
He
he
got popped?
bring, he got popped. Hell yeah, they popped him 2016 or 15, something like that. They popped him and bring in cell phones. And then his other homie, I talked to his other homie, and he's like, man, oh boy, man, oh boy made about $100,000 doing that. I go, and I couldn't understand why, because you could do overtime, and you got a regular paycheck. You can max out overtime. You can max out overtime for the month, make another 4 or 5 thousand for the month.
Man.
And yeah, I mean, this, back in 2016. So my buddy was telling me that he was backed up. They were taking everything. They were taking everything. So I guess that was I don't know, that was the only other option for him.
So how do people is do the CEOs usually get caught because of the rumors and the inmates, like the word gets around and then like eventually it gets to the higher ups?
It doesn't. It's usually an inmate that tells. So,
Oh,
so like, say like we're both on the yard, and I know you are messing with one of the COs as far as contraband bringing in stuff, and say I got my own situation, hustle, and I get busted for some weed or coke,
gotcha.
and so I'm like, hey, like go light on me, I got some intel,
Gotcha.
you know. So they might, disregard what I have just to keep me on the yard and be a snitch.
Ah.
And I've seen that plenty of times, because it's kind of like, how you always keep getting busted by the officers. They keep busting you with the cell phones, cigarettes, contraband, but you're still on the yard.
Usually you go to the hole, right?
Well, not go to the hole, but you would jack up your points, or they would get you out of that prison,
Gotcha.
make it harder for you to get contraband.
Okay, okay.
But for some reason, you keep getting caught and you're still there. Is because they call. So a lot of times they'll call you out for visits because the squad office is right next to the visiting. So when you walk down that tunnel, you keep going straight left to the and you will be in the visiting room. But I guess 1 or 2 doors prior, that's the black patches room. So instead of going all the way straight, you hook a left, you give up the info, then you come back out like you're going back from your visit.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, I just want to put this out there. This Zoom meeting, it only has 10 minutes left
All
because
right.
I'm not on the pro version. I'm still on the
Okay.
free version. So we're gonna get to the last things. I want you to talk about whatever you want to talk about for these last 10 minutes. We're definitely down to run the part two if you're available for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything that you want to speak on before this 10 minutes goes up?
Nah, man, whatever questions you got, man.
Okay. Have
You
you
talk.
personally met any high profile inmates? Not necessarily on death row, but like
Oh,
guys on
all
the
the
news
time.
and shit. Okay. So like
Uh,
who's one of the guys that pops up first?
high profile as celebrities.
Yeah, sure. Celebrities.
Monster Cody.
Monster Cody.
Flesh and Bone from Bone Thugs.
Okay.
He actually worked for me.
Wow.
Uh, the Menendez brothers,
Wow.
I believe. Yeah, with the Menendez brothers. One of the dudes from Blood In, Blood Out, I believe. He was there.
Wow.
Uh, who else? Oh, Iron Man.
Tony Stark.
Yes,
No, Robert Downey Jr.
yes.
Where
He was
did
in
you meet him?
Delta 4, protective custody. He was in Delta 4, protective custody.
Prison.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought he only went to county jail. So he
No,
actually.
no, he was in prison. He was in
Oh
prison.
wow.
My buddy, one of my friends, actually his his picture from the R&R, and there was like a big old investigation. I remember about it, and like, damn, I had to be like 15, 20 years later that we figured out who did it. Took the picture.
15 years later.
Yeah, we
Wow.
figured out because nobody never said, and then I overheard a conversation, and then somebody had said, "Oh, your boy Rick took the picture." He never told me nothing, never said nothing to me, but
Wow.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. Oh,
That's
and
insane.
then that dude that that killed he was an actor or something, white guy, old white guy who wore a patch on his head. Um, man, he looked like one of the characters from Lord of the Rings. I'll think of his name later,
Okay. Okay. For
later, but
sure.
he was pretty high profile. Yeah, he was real high profile, and I can't even. It'll hit me later. I came across so many people.
Okay.
I
Okay.
came across so many people through the years that were high profile.
Gotcha. What kind of advice would you give your average first time offender going through the prison system? Like, what kind of advice? How do you navigate these walls?
Well, there's really no advice because they already got schooled in the county jail.
Gotcha.
So there's really no. They already know how to be. There is man. There was a lot of advice I would give. And again, I'm going to piss off some people because this is the truth. Back in the day, Hispanics, Mexicans, they couldn't come in and run with the blacks. They couldn't come in as Crip or Blood. They couldn't. I don't care how many channels say it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen dudes from Compton, the big, Crip gangs out of Compton, neighborhood gangsters. Uh, I've seen it. I've seen in the earlier years, up until about 2016, the Hispanics, they weren't having it. They
No
were not.
type of so there would be
No,
no South like Hispanic dudes that banged black gangs coming into that's
no,
not happening.
no. Every situation that came in, if that dude stayed in that building untouched, is because he said he was either Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican, anything else Hispanic except Mexican. But any person, because the first thing they do when you get to the building, the South Side rep would go to your door and he'll say, "Hey, what's up? Are you a homie?" And if that dude says, "No, I'm a Crip, I'm a Blood," say, they'll say, "Hey, are you Mexican?" And at that moment is what's going to decide the fate.
If he says he is or not.
Yes.
And if he says he is, he's getting removed.
If he says I'm Mexican,
And he's banging
as
Cripper
soon
blood,
as that door pops open,
it's over with.
it's a go.
Green light.
Oh, on the spot.
My goodness.
On the spot. There's no question, nothing. So all they do, they go to your door and they'll say, "Hey, what's up? Are you a homie?" They go, "Nah, man, I'm a Crip." Are you Mexican? What are you, Mexican? Puerto Rican? I'm Mexican. That dude will go, bah, you'll see the tear, you'll see him going tear to tear, door to door, boom, 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 door to door. He would let the torpedoes know. As soon as the door cracks, hit this dude.
Gotcha.
He would let him know. 4 or 5 dudes. He would let them know right away. And so it didn't matter if it was chow, pill call, showers, it's on. But if he says, "Nah, man, I'm Puerto Rican," they'll be like, "All right, bet. That's it. You're good." They leave you alone.
Gotcha.
They don't, that and in the early 2000s, the TRGs, they were, oh man, I used to see them. They were coming in, and if they had TRG tatted on them,
It's
oh
on.
yeah, they were getting.
How does that work though? Like in the prisons, like the Southsiders would actually attack the TRG guys?
Yeah, in the earlier 2000s,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then after a while, they lifted the green light, and then it was whatever. But there was a few instances that I see, like 2 dudes got TRG above their eyebrow.
Uh-huh.
They were catching it
Every day.
not every day. They would catch it, and then they would either like send them to the hole until they transferred,
Uh-huh.
or whatever the situation was.
Gotcha. Because there was some real tension between the
Oh yeah,
Southsiders and the
yeah, but
TRG.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Those I heard stories, man.
Man,
There was like legendary stories about those
right.
TRGs putting in work. Like
Legendary
they
stories.
they were like coming with choppers, and they was bringing the heat, man. They was holding their own for a small gang.
Man, and that's some
You know,
facts.
because yeah, they were holding their own. Because Southside they're big, like they're big everywhere. They're big.
Right.
I
They,
mean,
do they damn near run the CDC?
I'm not gonna say they run it because it's based on respect.
Right.
You know, um, respect and boundaries and agreements on the yard.
Gotcha.
Um, so they are the deepest.
For sure.
They are the deepest. But I've seen yards where there's 40 Southsiders and maybe 10 Northerners, and
Man, that's
and
insane.
um, and respect, knowing that the opposition can hold their own weight. There's boundaries and they have agreements.
Gotcha.
Because at the end of the day, you guys go to war, nobody's getting business, nobody's going to the store, nobody's
No action.
there. You got no action the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, if you have older individuals, it's better to come to an agreement on the boundaries and what everyone agrees on.
Mm.
You know,
Man, that's insane.
yeah.